What's up guys, Anthony here, and as we all know, when it comes to both Valorant and CS2, the skins that you have equipped are extremely important when it comes to showing how much of a baller you absolutely are when playing this game. And the most important type of skin definitely has to be the knife, because it is usually the most expensive part of your skin collection. You always have it equipped, and it's always nice to look at something fancy while you're rotating. So today, we're going to be taking a look at what game does these knife skins better. Is it going to be Valorant with their newer cartoony and flashy effects, or is it going to be CS2 with their more practical looking knives that also have animations that are more grounded in reality? Also, I want to make it very clear that the knives we're going to be comparing in this video are both knives that can be found in CS2 and Valorant. So don't expect anything crazy like the new arcane gauntlets. All the knives are going to be ones that can be found in both games, such as like the karambits, skeleton knife, stiletto, or something that is at least close enough. Anyways, like the video if you do end up enjoying, and subscribe because we are on our way to 6k subs and we just hit 5k. Anyways, let's go on to the first comparison, which is going to be the default knives of both games compared to each other. And to start off with the Valorant knife, it is extremely boring and basically has nothing going for it because the model is extremely basic and generic, and when it comes to the coloring and the texture, it is literally just one singular color, that being black, with very, very minimal shading. Where when you compare this to the CS2 default knives, because there are two different versions, the knives look just way more interesting because both sides have their own unique model, and the models actually have some really decent texture work because they're not just one singular model, they all have a different color for the actual blade itself and the handle, and you can even like pay attention to the like metal and see that there's like some slight detailing in there to give it like that realistic type look to it. So when it comes to the default knives, CS2 definitely wins. Next up, we got comparing dual wield hand knives, which can be found in both games, where in CS2 we got the shadow daggers. Now, when it comes to all the CS2 knife skins, I think everybody dislikes the shadow daggers the most because there's nothing really going for them. The model is extremely plain and boring, almost like the default knife. The stabbing animations are just a simple light poke, it feels, and the inspect is nothing crazy either. On the other hand, Valorant definitely has CS2 beat on this one because the models are significantly better, the animations are way more flashy, and some skins even have these really cool effects as you stab. So I think for this one, Valorant definitely wins, meaning that the score at the current moment is 1-1. For the next comparison we're going to be doing, it's going to be for the karambits, where in CS2 we got the Talon knife and the standard karambit, and in Valorant we got basically two different types of karambits. We got the 1.0 karambits, which is something like the prime karambit, and we got the 2.0 karambits, which is something like Ion, Reaver, Champions, etc. Now I'm gonna keep it $150. I am 100% way more biased towards the CS2 karambits because I just prefer their models way more. Their blades are just absolutely massive, and like whenever you attack or like do the right click, it feels like you have weight to the actual animation. Meanwhile in Valorant, the blades are way more tiny and feel more like toys than an actual, knife. Because take a look at the Champions karambit and you'll just see that the blade is just absolutely tiny. Reaver is also pretty similar, and really the only karambit I actually like in Valorant is the prime one. Like, yes, the animations are more flashy, but just the tininess of the knives is the main reason why I'm definitely gonna have to give it to CS2. Next up, we got the kukri knives, where in CS2, this is actually the newest knife type added, where this knife has extremely clean pull-out animations, inspect animations, and stabbing animations. And when it comes to the Valorant kukri knife,
what in the actual fuck?
Yeah, no, there's no sugarcoating it. This is one of the worst knives in the game, period, when it comes to Valorant, because the animations are nothing special, and instead of looking like an actual kukri, it looks like a Bangalore heirloom from Apex Legends with Down syndrome. Overall, a really bad knife, and this one definitely goes to CS2. The Huntsman and Reaver knife are next, where both got this extremely edgy design where the knife just looks absolutely mean, and specifically the Huntsman knife has a pretty clean pull-out animation. The only part which I kind of feel is boring about this knife is that the stabbing animations are pretty plain when in comparison to the other CS2 knives, where in comparison the Reaver knife I do think has a couple advantages. I do think the model is more interesting, and I also really love love the effects. And because I just overall prefer the effects of Reaver, I am gonna have to give it to the Reaver knife when it comes to this comparison. The bayonets are next up, where in CS2 these are probably one of the best knives in the game, where the normal version has this really cool pull-out animation, and the M9 version is way bigger and meaner. And really, I just think these are just some of the best knives in the game. They have a good model, and some even have a really good pull-out animation. The Valorant bayonet, on the other hand, just feels off. Like, they try to make it look more unique and change up the model, but all they really did was just make it look worse, and they even took off the most important part of a bayonet, which is that ring part on the handle, which you use to attach to a gun. So, because they did so many changes, and because just the animations are worse overall, I'm definitely gonna have to give it to CS2. Up next, we got the stiletto knives, where in CS2 we got a custom pullout animation where you flip out the blade, plus some unique inspect animations where one of them is just your character holding it with just its fingertips and inspecting it, and the other one is one where he just kind of flips the knife around a bunch. And when it comes to the Valorant stiletto knife, it basically uses only generic default animations, and the pullout animation is a genuine hate crime. What the actual f is this? That pullout animation is single-handedly why CS2 is gonna take the cake for this one. Skeleton knives and kunais are up next. Yes, I know they're both two different knife types, but they both have a hole in the middle, so I'm gonna count them as the same. Where in the skeleton knife in CS2 got this pretty cool pull-out animation, a pretty generic inspect animation, and some extra generic stabbing animations. On the other hand, the Valorant kunai is definitely way more flashy, especially how some of them have effects, a better pullout animation, and the Miss Bloom kunai even got this really clean inspect animation. Like, you cannot go wrong with a literal kunai just spinning on your finger. I do not know why CS2 didn't do this, but for that, I'm definitely gonna have to give it to Valorant. Second last knives we're gonna be covering in this video is gonna be the gut knife and the Valorant gut knife, where both of these are extremely bottom barrel knives, but I do think the gut knife does have the edge on this one, because although the model is more plain, it does have this really clean pullout animation, which goes perfectly whenever you're opping, where if you also get like a pretty decent finish on it, where you get like Gamma Doppler, maybe Slaughter, that pullout animation with a good op skin goes absolutely clean. On the other hand, the transition knife is just extremely boring and bland. The animations are completely default, and although it does have this kind of cool animated texture, it does not account for the fact that the model looks extremely weird. And I know it looks extremely weird because the only time I ever actually saw somebody use it in game was also the same person that told me in VC they want to shove it up their ass. Yeah, no, the gut knife definitely takes the cake for this one because it is an opper's wet dream. Now, the last knives we're going to be covering in this video is going to be the butterfly knives, and I left these last for a reason, because these are probably the most popular knives in the game for both games. Now, for the CS2 butterfly knife, it is a more tactical looking butterfly knife where it has this like cool slanted design and the blade looks absolutely mean. Meanwhile, on the other hand, in Valorant, it's a way more generic looking butterfly knife, but what really makes the difference between these two different knives has to be the level of quality for the animations, where the Valorant ones are simply better. The tricks they do for the inspect, the pull out, the right click are way more advanced and way more flashy. And when it comes to a butterfly knife, the flashier the better, because the whole point of a butterfly knife is to be flashy. Be honest, if you're buying a butterfly knife, are you buying it to use as a normal knife, or are you buying it to be flashy and to be borderline ADHD autistic? You're gonna be buying it to flip it around. Flashier, better. And that's why, in my opinion, the Valorant butterfly knife is better. This was not an easy choice to make, but I had to pick one, so Valorant it is. Now, in the end, the score ended up being 6 for CS2 and 4 for Valorant. And to be honest, I'm not really shocked with this result because, not gonna lie, CS2 knife skins better win, especially if they cost like $100+. Also, do remember that this video was, at the end of the day, my opinion. Please don't send a pipe bomb to my house just because I said that Valorant butterfly knife is better. That would be a literal crime. But anyways, like the video if you did enjoy. Comment down below your own personal list for this video. And don't forget to subscribe because I am on my way to 6k subs and I just hit 5k. Anyways, I'll see you guys all in my next video. Goodbye.